it's time to begin the begin, or something like that. This is another thrift store vinyl finds video, and I got a whole magic box full that always seems to fill up with new records, and I'm gonna make actually 2 videos back to back because I got so many here. But let's get the show on the road here. You ever have a certain band or group that you were like really into when you were like coming of age, like your early 20s, when you were like kind of like moving out on your own, you had to establish yourself? This is one of those records, REM, Life's Rich Pageant. I had this record in the mid 80s, and I was really into this band. I kind of still like them, and for some reason through the years for some reason I got rid of their early albums. I don't know why, but I was really lucky. I came across this one for $1. It's probably my favorite album by them, I think. So I was really happy to find this one. I found some other stuff. I really like bluegrass music, and probably one of the best, probably the gods of bluegrass, I guess you'd call them, were Flatt and Scruggs, and I came across this one, the Golden Hits. It's on some small independent label or company out of Nashville, so very cool. I got kind of I like all the country stuff from like the 60s, that country pop and sound. And one of this lady was she was actually out of Minnesota, and she became like a big country star when she went to Nashville. That was Lynn Anderson. So I got another one of her albums. I think I got most of them by now. I don't know. Another guy who was really big in the 60s and 70s in country, Merle Haggard. I'm a Lonesome Fugitive. That's pretty cool. Merle Haggard and the Strangers. I like that. That's a cool name for a backing group. And probably one of his most famous singles is on this record, Okie from Muskogee. He's still got the original shrink wrap on them too. I mean, they've been open, but that's kind of nice. And I found another one, early album by this guy. I showed another couple from in a previous video. Jerry Lee Lewis, The Golden Cream of the Country. They're very cool. It's on Sun. So I'm glad to get that. Now this one I showed, or I played the track in that previous video. It was this first time I ever came across a record by them at a thrift store, and it's in pretty decent condition if you've heard the soundtrack of that video. And that was this one, The Warm and Wonderful, Les Paul and Mary Ford. So that was I really got excited when I found this for $1, you know. Here's another cool one. I got most of their early albums. Their greatest hits album is pretty easy to find, but this is the original pressing of Sly and the Family Stone, Stand, and it's like virtually. Just want to show you it's an original pressing. It's got the yellow Epic label, so I was pretty excited to get that for $1. And another group I'm kind of getting into collecting. I had to pay a whole $1.99 at Goodwill. I mean, Goodwill's raising their prices now. It's like, don't they know that I'm like poor? I can't afford, you know, $1.99. But I did spend it on this one. The Kinks, Give the People What They Want. I haven't played it yet, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty good. Here's another one that was $1.99. Remember this one? Pete Townsend, Empty Glass. He had that one big solo single, Let My Love Open the Door. Another performer I was pretty excited to get another record of him. Very eclectic guy, great taste, and he can make, he's one of the few people in the music business who can like do what he wants, and an audience is always waiting and waiting to buy whatever he puts out. And that's Steve Winwood. So that's pretty cool. Now this one, I don't know, some people consider this group kind of cheesy from the 70s, but I really like their production. Good songs, very tasteful, very well produced. And that was, the group was Bread. And I already had a copy of this, but this one was like mint condition, so I decided to pick it up. It was only $1. My mother bought this record back in, I think it was 76 or 77, when I was still living at home. And I never thought, I didn't really know much about Neil Diamond back then. He was kind of like in his cheesy 70s period, but this was pretty edgy, kind of pretty good record, I thought. And it was produced by Robbie Robertson of the band fame, and it was Beautiful Noise. And I do remember liking to play this record, my mom's copy. Here's one, used to be a Steve Miller band, obviously, and he had a successful solo career. This is, I haven't played this one yet, but this is Boss Skaggs. A little provocative artwork there. First I didn't know who this was, but I got most of their records anyway. I mean, some of their stuff's kind of cheesy, but I kind of like them in some ways. This is the band America Holiday. So that was, now this one I was kind of excited to find. The lead singer was Martha Davis, and sadly she lost her life pretty early to cancer. I think it was breast cancer, but she had a couple big hits with this group. That was the Motels, Little Robbers. So I was kind of excited to get that. Now this guy was one of the early proponents of the synthesizer. Everybody knows Dreamweaver. So I picked this one up. It's Gary Wright. This is the album Dreamweaver. Now I got a pretty large collection of like the folk pop groups, like the Brothers Four, the Kingston Trio, New Christie Minstrels. I found a couple of the Kingston Trio's latter period albums when they had switched over from Capitol Records to Decca. And I actually already had a copy of this, but I picked this one up. It was Something Else. And this one I never had, now I do have it. It was Stay a While. And if you know anything about the Kingston Trio, this guy, John Stewart, he was also a very successful solo artist, singer-songwriter. He wrote some songs for other people that became some big hits. I found another one of those kind of generic hootenanny albums, which I also like to find. So I was kind of happy to get one of those. Now this is actually the first album I ever bought, and like I said, I have gotten rid of albums through the years, and I thought, why did I do that? And I decided, well, if I come across another one like it, I'll buy it. But back in 1975, I was finally able to start scraping like gift money together, and I had this album on my mind because I kind of liked all his early stuff back then, and I kind of still do. But it was this is the album I bought. Was Elton John Greatest Hits. And I found another I think most of this guy's records by this point. Pretty good singer. This is B.J. Thomas. Most of all. And I found another Frank Sinatra record. This I think was probably his last big top 40 hit in, like, I think it was the mid 60s, 66, 67. And that was Strangers in the Night. So that was kind of nice to get. A lot of people find Harry Belafonte records. I think have most of them at this point. This is this one I found, An Evening with Belafonte. And this group was actually a Wisconsin group from like the mid to late 80s. I did some research in that one folk record book. They kind of sounded, I guess they had the style of like Jimmy Buffett with, you know, songs about the tropics and drinking. And speaking of drinking, I need something to wet my whistle here. But this band was called Free Hot Lunch. I guess I figure if you name yourself Free Hot Lunch or Free Beer or something, you know, you're gonna get a crowd, you know, no matter what you do. I kind of think, I haven't listened to this. I think it's like a ska reggae band. So I picked it up, the Selector. And this is one of those famous 70s records. I paid a whole $1.99 for it. Not really terribly into the group, but I mean, they were all over the place when I was in my late teens in the 70s, so I picked it up. Cheap Trick in color, in a black and white. I just thought it was a great sense of humor these guys had. This one is one from the mid 80s. I kind of knew their hit, and I made a comment on another video about someone else that come across a record by them. But this is my copy of the Dream Academy, and it's got it's the one with Life in a Northern Town. That was like their big worldwide hit. And last but, well, I was going to say last but not least, but this is probably, I'd say last and least. I picked up one of these cheesy K-Tel compilations. And I have other ones by K-Tel albums, but this is one of the more cheesier ones. It's got some of the really, I don't know, stuff that's like really bad. I mean, even the graphic design of this is pretty cheesy looking, you know. But so I hope you enjoyed those, and I love that record. But like I said, I hope you enjoyed those, and I hope you tune in again real soon. And in the meantime, I hope you keep it groovy, and I'll see you again. Bye.